Victor, I'm here with a new battle report. This is the second game on a local tournament where I play with my Stormcast Eternals, and this time I'm going to play against the Legions of Nagash. 2000 points of Age of Sigmar. So battle plan we are going to play in round 2 is the focal points, and then my mission was to survive at least with one battle line, and I don't remember exactly his secondary objective. So focal points is a one that you put 5 objectives, and depending what objective you're holding, you score more or less points. So my list of Stormcast Eternals. I have Lord Celestin on Starbreak. He has the special armor from the Stormcast Eternal that gives -1 to be hit. Then I have a Lord Relictor, who is the general, and will have the Staunch Defender, a Lord Castellan, and a Lord Ordinator, and a Lord Arcanum on with Charger. As units or battle lines, I have 3 units of 5 Liberators, 2 units of 5 Judicators. Then I have another unit of 5 Evocators, and 1 unit of 3 Prosecutors. And the last unit is 1 Celestial Ballista, and I just have to complete the points Endless Spell, although you will not see too much. My opponent is playing with Legions of Nagash, although is using miniatures from the Tom Kings. So he's playing with Neferata and Arkan the Black, and 2 Necromancers as the characters or leaders, and then as units he have 2 units of 25 Grave Guard, 3 units of 10 Skeletons, and the Endless Spells Soul Snare Shackles, the Saber Spin. So with that we go to the deployment. Remember, we are going to play in focal points. Deployment is in the arrow for that. And this is the deployment. So he just put 2 units of escalators to the front, then behind, surrounding his his HQs, he has the 2 Grave Guard. At his left flank, Arkan the Black, at his right flank, Neferata, both quite centered, and then behind all his lines he put the skeletons, another unit of 10, to avoid that they can deploy it at his back with the deep strike. In my case, I just put 1 unit of Liberators and Prosecutors in my left flank, and then in the middle I put the Castellan, the Relictor, I put the let's call this the Lord Arcanum, the Evocators, leaving 2 units of Judicators and 2 units of Liberators in the sky. So my intention is to, and of course the Ballista and the Lord Ordinator. So I will decide later on where I'm going to put these units. I stopped deploying first, so I finished first in deployment. So here we see a detail, everything very spaced to avoid that I can go in his deployment zone. And as I was saying, I finished first, so I decided to give the initiative to him. So we go to the turn 1, and the Legions of Nagash will start. So not much to say here. He just advanced with all his army, just a little bit. He want to control the hill. He also advanced a little bit in his other flank, but nothing else. The spells were too far to be efficient against my army. So this is where he ended up, just moving ahead. I don't think that he even ran. He was playing very conservative, very defensive, and just moving enough to score 4 points. 1 for being 6 inches of the center objective, so 2 for that. Sorry, 2 for the center objective, and then 1 point for each objective in his deployed zone. And from my side, I was a little bit more aggressive. I want to pin his position. I want to avoid that he's getting too close to my objective. So because he has more numbers, so I need to kill a lot of them if I want to compete when he's controlling our objectives. So I decided to move ahead. I put my shooting units and my new units in my left flank, and I just move ahead with the Lord Celestial on Draco charging on the one of the units of Graveguard. So in the combat, the charges also the Lord Arcanum Charger also charge the flank of the unit of 10 skeletons. I killed 6 of these skeletons, and my Lord Celestial and Draco just get engaged and kill some of the Graveguard. I think I received 1 or 2 wounds in return, but this was more or less expected. So I just I just killed some Graveguard and some skeletons. In my shooting, I put most of my shooting on Neferata, making some wounds to Neferata. So this was the end of the turn 1. So I also scored the 4 points. So we were 4-4, and and I was looking forward to see how I can deal with this 50 Graveguard that can be regrowth with the Heroes of the Death. Here in this picture you can see more clear what I deployed quite a good bunch of my units in this flank. I put the Liberators the front side to defend my shooting units, and to be fair, the first unit that will charge me are the skeletons, and the Graveguards a little bit locked behind his skeletons. So with that we go to the turn 2. And he starts the turn 2. So the first thing, he regrowth a lot of the things that I already killed. And he also put some wounds back to Neferata and moved her to his backwards. So he really moved her to the back of his army. He was very concerned on losing his characters. So he also moved one of the necromancers behind the house in a position where I cannot see him. For the rest, he did not move the other Graveguard and skeletons on his right flank, and he just started piling on my Lord Celestial on Draco with the skeletons and the unit of Graveguard. In the magic phase, he put a lot of mortal wounds on my Lord Celestial on Draco, and he was just 1 wound away from being killed. So this was a bad situation for my Lord Celestial on Draco, but then he attacked me. I rolled some 7s with my on my save roll, so I received some wounds back. So I healed some wounds thanks to the Lantern of the Lord Castellan. So in the combat, he just piled in. We did some combat. He have not managed to do more wounds on my Lord Celestial, and he survived the combat against the Graveguard. They are piling on top of me. But at this moment I was not too much concerned, so I'm more concerned on the mortal wounds that I can receive from him. So from my side, I advance with Evocators, Relictor. I also position my Lord Arcanum with Charger. My intention is to charge with this unit of skeletons that is just in front of me. They disengage from my Lord Celestial and Draco, and I also move the prosecutors to give some additional support. So I want to have control of the middle objective, and then I keep the rest of the units more or less. I also move a little bit to the middle, one of the units of Judicators together with the Liberators, leaving the other unit of Liberators and the Ballista on my left flank. So the intention is to keep pressure, to put a lot of pressure on this unit that is more in the middle. The skeletons on the hill and the Graveguard that is behind. I want to put pressure there and try to have control of the middle of the battlefield. If I have that control, then I can stay there and keep scoring more points than my opponent. So the problem is I failed all the charges this turn. So I tried to charge with the Evocators, failing. I tried to charge with the Griff Charger on the skeletons, and I also failed. So not very happy with that, but I score the objective in the middle as well as he did before me. So we are at the end of the turn 8 to 8. So, but I quite happy with how I'm positioning. The Graveguard, one of the units of Graveguard is being really decimated. It's in a very low numbers, so I will be able to start having control of the middle. So with that we go to the turn 3, and I had this time the initiative in turn 3, so I had the advantage to have a double turn. So with this double turn, I finally charge with the Whiff Charger on the unit of 10 Skeletors on my right flank. I charge with the Evocators on the Skeletons plus the Graveguard. I move the Prosecutors in the middle to have control on the middle objective, and then I start shooting to one of his Necromancers. So I want to start killing the Necromancers who are the weak characters, and to try to reduce his magic. His magic is quite dangerous to me. Is the one that is causing mortal wounds on my dorsal on the background. At the same time, I put by being behind this, the house is being more difficult for him to hit him, and I just give some wounds back thanks to the Lord Relictor power. So I was using the healing of the Lord Relictor to give some wounds back to my Lord Celestial on Dracot, and then also know that I have +2 to my save. I can heal also when I'm receiving attacks from the Graveguard. So in the combat phase, I completely destroyed the skeletons, and I completely destroyed the one unit of Graveguard. So here you see how I clean up the hill. I destroyed the Graveguard as well, and now Arkan the Black is the next objective if he's not moving away. But I guess he will move away and try to find protection between his ranks. Okay. On the other side, there is no movement so far, so no, I was not interested to charge. As you can see, I also put a unit of Liberators to protect the objective in the middle. I put the Lord Relictor that is in range to support the Lord Celestial on Dracoth. Also, the Lord Castellan is there in the middle behind the Liberator, so I'm putting a lot of bodies, try to protect the middle objective and avoid that he can score it easily. Okay, so this was the end of my turn 3, and I scored another 4 points for 12. Sorry, 12 points, if I'm not mistaken. Another thing that I forget to mention, I killed one of his Necromancers as well with the shooting. So he lost one of his characters, one unit of Graveguard and one unit of Skeletons. So in his turn 3, he just moved back everything, also Arkan the Black, and he used the command abilities to summon back one unit of Graveguard and to summon back one unit, the unit of Skeletons that he killed. So we go to the turn 4. As I said, there was not much to say. He just moved back and protect himself. And now in turn 4 is when the death had the double turn. So he decided, as I explained before, he just moved back. So in turn 4 he decided to prepare to charge on my ranks. So he moved the skeletons in a distance to be able to charge the Liberators that you see here in the pic. And then he started moving his Graveguard to the middle, try to see if he can take control of the middle. Okay, so he just moved, as you can see, he's moving the Graveguard, try to surround my Lord Celeste on Dracoth, and also see if he can reach the objective in the middle. Not easy because I put a screen of Liberators and he cannot put too many bodies, and also I have in the middle my Lord Celeste on Dracoth. Also, you see at the bottom of the pictures, this is again the 2 units that he just bring back from the death. So yeah, there was a big melee there in the middle. He just attacked on my Lord Celeste on Dracoth, And he did not manage to do a single wound to him. On top, I heal 1 wound thanks again to the combination of the Lord Castellan plus the relic. And in this side, yeah, the skeletons attack on my liberators, but they did nothing, or 1 wound, and I almost killed them all. So yeah, then skeletons against the liberators are not a good option. So yeah, this was at the end of his turn. The unit of skeletons that you see there, the objective is the one that was at the very back at the beginning of the battle. So this time he did not manage to score the middle turn neither, so I forgot to mention at the end of the turn 3 he scored 1 point, and now he's scoring 2 points. So he has 4, 4, and 3, 8. And so far, 3, 3, 4, 4, 8 plus 3, 11, and I'm on 12 points, but I have no the turn 4 for me. Yeah, with that we went to my turn 4, and this was the last turn of the tournament because we were running out of time, okay, of this game. So I just moved the evocators against the Graveguard. I also put the Lord Celestin against the Graveguard, and I keep this was all the movement just to try to see if I can destroy this Graveguard that is in the middle. After all the attacks combined of especially the evocators plus the Lord Celestin on the back plus the what's called this, the break test, the battle shock test. Sorry, I managed to kill all the Graveguard, and I scored another 4 points. So I ended up scoring 4 points each turn. So this is 16 against his 11. So this was a battle in my favor. So the key point here was the combination of Lord Castellan. So the Lord Celestin with the Lantern plus the Staunch Defender. This plus 2 save, it's crucial. Even if you have branding -1, you have a lot of difficulties to deal damage to the Lord Celestin on the back of. If you do this with the Star Drake, it's even worse for your opponent because he has to go even against more wounds. The weakness, the mortal wounds. So my army is still weak against mortal wounds, and maybe I should think of something to protect from that. But all in all, quite a good battle. I think here was crucial to have the board control. I have it from the second turn. I had the board control in the middle, and he was playing very defensively. Maybe he should play more aggressively with the undead. And that was all. As I said, this is a mistake here. It's 16 to 11. So I put here the wrong points. At the end was 16 to 11 in favor of the Stormcast. So this was a major victory. I also scored the secondary objective, and I avoid that he was scoring his secondary objective. So this was pushing me up in the tournament score. So a very big crash on the first battle and a good victory on my second battle. So we are ready to go now to the third round. And that's all for now. So this is all the battle. Please let me know what do you think. I know my list is not super competitive list. I'm playing more I think a nice list, but not super competitive. I will have some competitive units. So and that's all for now. Please let me know what do you think about my Stormcast Eternals. Let me know what do you think about the death list. And yeah, and share, comment, and like if you have liked this video. And as usual, thanks a lot for watching, and see you again later. Bye.